There are two things that end marriages faster: sex and money. Is it that there's no understanding of what money and sex is supposed to be in a marriage that is the reason why the marriages end faster? Or the fact that these two people do not have a level of self-awareness of what these two things are in their hands? For example, a man being a provider, right? Is it just the money? So coming to sex, what is libido? How does libido play? How does your whatever it is it the perception and the understanding that a lot of people don't have of these things? Or just outright that, oh, people don't understand, people don't ask questions, they don't have conversations about it, and then when they get married and find out that it's not what they had assumed, then it goes off.
As we have grown deeper in understanding marriage, we are seeing that it's not just sex and money are the ripple effect. Yeah, there are deeper issues. There's like you said, there's a communication issue, there's an expectation issue that usually, because those are the key elements of marriage, sex, money, parenting, all those things are really, that's why you now think that, okay, this is the sex and money. It's not. It's the fact that, see, I have an expectation of what we should be like financially. I have an expectation of the kind of sex I want, and they're not meeting that. And then that begins to ripple into wahala.
Hi guys, well, welcome to another edition of the Unbothered Show. The Unbothered Show is a place where we like to bring amazing people like yourselves to have conversations around friendships, relationships, and marriage, even though some people don't like to talk about it, but it's just letting people come to the consciousness of how awesome, how amazing doing life with a partner can be, doing life with friends can be, and just being able to let people understand some of the tools that they should have when it comes to doing life with a partner. And I think that it is also us just trying to bring the consciousness of our identity, of who we are, to be able to do life or the journey of marriage in a very beautiful way. And I know that I myself like to say that marriage is an amazing gift that has been given to man. And I believe that when it's done right, and it's a continuous learning process, but I just pray that we are all able to have a beautiful and amazing conversations. We expect questions and we expect your contributions as always. And also, I hope you are following the Unbothered Show. Instagram, the Unbothered Show. TikTok, the Unbothered Show. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think I'll just say welcome. We have two amazing guests on the show today. And to be very honest with you, they are people who are, I would say that this couple, they are after my heart because I have learned from them personally. I have listened to their story, and to be very honest with you, they have a lot to actually say. And I doubt we can even exhaust most of the conversations if we want them to really speak, but we'll do justice to it, and I'm sure we'll all have fun. I'll leave it to Zora to take it up from there.
Zoe, I'll leave it to you. Why are you leaving it to me? All right, hi guys. Welcome to the Unbothered Show. And you know how we do it. We start with the questions and the audience. Akuna is looking at me like, hey God, why now? Akuna is looking at me like, why now? Why now? But yeah, we are about to get into the icebreaker questions. Where should I start from? So my first question would be for my babe. Is there a mic for my babe? For my lounge queen. So question is, have you ever ignored a red flag that came back to bite you in a relationship?
Not really. I've not been into a lot of relationships, so I don't really have that experience. But I know that the red flag I actually saw in my last relationship, I don't think it's a red flag from his own end. So, but the red flag I knew that I saw was that his family was into some certain things that I wasn't aligning to my belief. So I just knew that this is a red flag. I know that he's not into it, but I know that he still has like some type
Yeah.
of connection. So I know that okay, this cannot work. Like I can't get myself like spiritually, like it's has to do with the spiritual aspect. So I knew that I can't get myself
We can't go there.
yeah, in this. So that was like my biggest red flag. I just knew like it can't work.
That's it. That's a queen that knows what she can get herself into. Thank you so much. I'm going to ask that question also to Akuna. Akuna, just try to answer my question first. Let's see if that we did not continue. Akuna, just answer my question first. What is the red flag that you have ignored in a partner that came back to bite you in the ass later?
So I wouldn't even say I ignored it per se, but would you say when you were hoping that it would be,
It will go away.
yeah.
Something like
So
that.
I wouldn't say I ignored it. So I don't know where to place that.
Okay, so but what's the red flag, Sha?
Okay, so
Why you dey blush? Why
Don't
you
worry,
dey blush?
don't worry. It's a safe space.
It's not. Akuna is not a safe space. I am not a safe space for you. I will bring you out.
okay, so I'll just pick one.
Okay.
Over time, I found out some other stuff, but the first one that I noticed at first, and I was hoping that okay, maybe because this person has had like let's say a very tough life, over time they'll get to change per se, because I felt like I had love to give. Yeah. So, and not in that sense, but again, let's just go. Right. So the first thing was the God factor. Right. So the person was battling with their faith and all of those things, but I just realized that I'm not Jesus Christ.
You can't
so
save him.
I'm not going to save you, and you just need to walk this journey
Walk
on
the
your
journey.
own. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, our ladies don't take the faith for a joke.
So I want to give it to the guy in blue. But I have a different question. You know that I prefer when I used to stand in the crowds to this sitting down here. I like to be close to my people. This place. No, the guy in the blue. The guy in blue.
Yeah.
So what is one question that you ask someone who you want to go into a relationship with? What's that one question that's a must ask? Please, it should not be what's your favorite color? So say, please, no, that's a question that annoys me like crazy. But what question is that?
Okay, I like to know how ginger the person is to make money.
Very bad. Who said very?
The money talk.
He says ginger. Like, I'm not here to play with you.
The money talk.
But okay, so why is that important to you though?
Okay, so I don't like people that they don't like doing anything. They just want to be provided for. Like you need to be serious on your own part. I cannot be doing all the work and you're staying at
Instagram
home.
has traumatized this guy.
No.
Instagram, people like Los Mirage has traumatized this guy. I'm so sorry, but yeah, that's very valid. I suppose that's you, but I don't know why you sit down for there.
I think in response to what he said, I saw a post. I think that was
What's that?
2 days ago, and the person said somebody wants to date somebody, and their family house was leaking. If you like the girl, relocate her and her family out of the leaking front. I'm like,
It's not right.
I don't call names, please.
I call names with my full chest. Sorry. Please give my mic to
I was
Olumide.
shocked. I'm like,
Thanks.
is it a charity case?
Olumide, welcome. Welcome back.
We haven't seen Olumide in a while.
Welcome back to the show. So my question would be, what will make you walk away from a relationship?
Many things.
No, give me one.
I think at the end of the day, when it comes to relationships and marriage and,
Yeah.
anything that involves a partnership, I think if two people are willing to disagree to agree, we can always move forward no matter what the issue is.
Yeah.
But once you have a case where the other party is not willing to come to a middle ground, not willing to compromise, it's like their way or the highway. It really can't work.
Okay.
It really can't work. So I think that's the key thing for me. It's the flexibility and ability to be able to disagree to agree. And that's it.
That's so profound.
That's actually very easy.
That's
People
so
like only
profound.
they like deep things. I asked for one thing, give me a just summarize them for me. Summarize this straight. Please, can you give my beautiful woman the front, the mic? Anyway, I love your hair. Yes.
Her name is Jennifer, by the way.
Okay, so hi Jennifer. I'm asking you the same question I asked you today. What's one thing that will make you walk away from a relationship fast?
I think it's more than one thing.
Yay.
Please go
Because
ahead.
I think okay, so belief system. If our belief system doesn't align, that's one. To what his personality is, a kind person. I think that's very important.
So first of all, how do you enter the relationship when you
Hmm.
not have all of these things?
Kind, like, so some people can mask and pretend to be,
And over time, it's beginning to see
so it
those
starts
traits.
unfolding over time. So I think so both those are like the two key.
Top things for
Yeah.
you. Okay. So that's ladies and gentlemen, my host, my guest speakers are in the building.
So guys,
I give it over to you.
I brought it over to her before. Okay, so like I said earlier, they're a couple, and I'm not about to make them blush, but it's real reality. I know that when I started having to do a lot of study about relationship, marriage, and what it needs to look like, and doing the work as a man, and I met her husband, Taiwo. I was like, man, I thought this was just me having these fantasies. Then also, I think there was also somebody called Pastor Martins. He has been on the show before, and Pastor Taiwo. They made marriage conversations very, very beautiful for me. And it made me know that certain things are possible. And I think they also shaping my mindset as to coming together with my dear Zora here for us to put together the show, because there was one person that always say, Chiki, I need to hear your podcast. I'm like, sir, there's no podcast happening here. But guys, I want you to know that they are an amazing couple who have been together for years, and they have been doing this conversation of speaking to couples, doing things. I said, you know what? Let's bring them on the show. How many of you knows the team for today's show? Okay,
I sat down to craft the. Don't do that.
Don't do that to Zora.
Do that.
Call
Call the police.
Call the police before
Call
you say I do.
911 before you say I do.
And
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the things myself and Zora have been talking about in the past was, what are people saying when we see some certain breakups, marriage issues, and we're like, you know what are people actually talking about before the marriage? And is it that they are not supposed to be conversations? Maybe when you get in, because I've heard people say, you never marry, you want to talk about marriage. I'm like, before you start to make money, you went to study or learn certain things so that you can be able to have the skills to make money. Then you can also, if when you want to even go in certain kind of business, in my culture, they used to call something the Igbo apprenticeship system. Iba boy. You serve so that you understand the ropes. And it seems like my generation wants to do marriage the other way around. They want to enter first so that they may know, rather than try to know so that they may now enter. So I think that they have done some very amazing work in that aspect, and I want us to welcome the Akishayers as they make their way to the stage for our conversations. You're welcome, man. And also, she has an amazing book, and I will not lie for you. I don't know, when I first saw the name of the book, I didn't know what to say. I was like, I don't know, but she called it "Good Girls Make Bad Wives." And when I looked at the name of the book, yes, it's it. So guys, I think she came with some copies. So let's get ready to maybe grab a copy of one of it. And I think the first thing I would even like to talk about is maybe Zora, let her briefly tell us why she talked about this.
Okay.
Just briefly before we go into the conversation.
Okay. So, you know how when we were younger, your mother would tell you that, hi everyone, first of all. My name is Bodupe. People call me Mo. I like Mo. So, you know how when we were younger, as ladies, your mom would tell you, if you even look at a boy, you get pregnant. And then if you were, like me, I don't know about you, when I was younger, my mother was telling me to go and buy something. And one boy will now toast me. I will now stop and listen to what he has to say. Then my mom will now see me from far. And when I'm now coming back, she'll say, what were you doing? I'll now tell her, well, the tomato fell down, I was washing it. She will just slap me. You were talking to a boy, you want to become an shower, blah, 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 blah. And they really were very deliberate with raising good girls. You know, they're deliberate raising girls who would be good cooks, who would be decent chicks, who wouldn't sleep around, who wear proper clothes and whatnot. And then that's where they stopped. But the woman of today, that's not enough. The guy is not looking for someone who can clean and cook. Yeah, that's good. But there should be much more to you. You know, your character is important. The way you think is important. Your ambition is important. Your ability to socialize, your ability to play, you know, all of those elements. Your intellectual capacity is also important. So, yeah, I thought, okay, good girls can be basic and boring. So let's try to enlighten them and let them know that it's not just being a good girl that'll make you a good wife. There's so much more. So, yeah.
That's so beautiful because I'm bouncing a lot with a good game. Yeah, I want a good game. But I think now I understand there has to be more. Yeah. So
I mean, my mother was very impressed because I don't think I've ever been classified as a good girl. I don't think in my life I ever came up to that woman as a good girl. I'm a stubborn girl.
So finally a book for you.
They read this book and so because I'm not okay.
You have to put that on.
So I like to call myself a talent manager.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, are you not?
Why not?
Yeah, I think that it's historically we've seen a pattern around the Christian community is sort of a poster child of where you find and harvest people who have sort of kinds of values, but we don't see that translate into sort of navigating marriages in a way that seems to be very, very beautiful. We've counseled a couple of people who are, who have like basic like Christian faith, love, pray for your partner, but we see that they couldn't navigate marriage properly. And this is not stereotyping that, it's the responsibility of the girl, but to see the pattern around the fact that some women are not very intentional about their growth, about their understanding of marriage. Some people are sort of absorbing cultural norms that are not so progressive. And just being very domestic doesn't sort of guarantee very good marriage. So I'm very happy for the release of the book. It took about 2016. We've been on this, and it's finally out. You should read it.
When you say talent manager, you
know a talent manager.
You know a talent manager when you miss one. Okay, so let's get into the show.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to start off strong because this is something that I've heard a lot of times. And every time I hear it, I kind of have a perception towards it. Now, I think one of the popular people that say that is Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo. And, a lot of more counselors that I met say that there are two things that end marriages faster: sex and money. But that when they say these things, it kind of feels like there's no money in the house. So that's why the marriage ends. The woman can't deal with it, or the man is not able to bring enough, and sex. So it's either they're not having enough sex, or it's around that. But then my question is it that there's no understanding of what money and sex is supposed to be in a marriage that is the reason why the marriages end faster? Or the fact that these two people do not have a level of self-awareness of what these two things are in their hands? For example, a man being a provider, right? Is it just the money? And the woman earning, what part of her income is supposed to come into the house? How is the income supposed to be shared? All of those. So coming to sex, what is libido? How does libido play? How does your whatever it is it the perception and the understanding that a lot of people don't have of these things, or just outright that people don't understand, people don't ask questions, they don't have conversations about it, and then when they get married and find out that it's not what they had assumed, then it goes off?
Okay. Do you want to go?
I mean, myself and my wife are sort of trying to theorize around the fact that, what is the underpinning issue beyond the fact that it's now showing up as a sex issue and a money issue, right? You find people who are not as, so let me deal with money, not as very affluent, and sort of they're navigating marriages well. I remember going, entering a commercial vehicle at the time, and I saw a lady, a guy who looked like a mechanic, and he stood on his phone, "My love," right? I was just shocked, like even in the trenches, and I felt like he had, like, you would know that in the social status or income class, it's not sort of there yet, but they seem to me in the conversation I was listening to, because I overheard, they seem to be, you sort of know a marriage that is sort of blossoming from the type of conversations they're having. And so for me, the underpinning issue is the fact that one person is unmet expectation. So behind what is showing up as a lack of money is how you calibrate your expectation. So that's something that, so I do not want to say it's a sex problem or it's a money problem. It's an expectation problem. And how do you move from there? Another problem that I was seeing that is underpinning beyond the fact that it's sex and money is that people have evolution. So what is your idea of sex? What is the idea of sex? What is this journey of sex that now plays out into the fact that both of you are not having a fruitful sexual journey? So I think that when we get into the conversation of sex and money, you will now say, sometimes you hear, when your husband wants to have sex, give it to him. That's how you keep your marriage. But if you really if we go away from our Christian community and go to I would like to use the word streets and what is happening, you realize that it's really wild out there. The woman is typically giving herself to the man, but the man is still cheating, right? So you now begin to ask yourself, is it the frequency of sex? What is happening? So one of the things that I would just like to say, how do you deal with unmet expectation? How do you fuel your emotional bank? How are you guys navigating your evolution and your idea of what money looks like? I was talking to a guy that set up a show about, he divorced his wife, but they started off like very, like their income class was really like normal, but the lady got a very good job and began to see wealth and affluence in a way that she had never seen before, and through that expectation on a man. And so that dissonance really led to unresolved conflict. So conflict, before she got that job, right, she didn't have that idea of what money looks like. She appreciated the husband at the stage where they were. But she started seeing young men doing very well, having, the kind of affluence that she had never seen before, and was now judging the man and saying, you are not hardworking enough. And so you see that evolution sort of leads to unmet expectation. Unmet expectation leads to unresolved conflict. Unresolved conflict leads to emotional disconnection or discussion pathway. You see the pattern. And so what's your expectation? What are you evolve? And are you evolving with your woman? Are you coming to alignment and going through that journey, or you are living separately? So you can. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense.
I think you killed it. I leave it to you.
That's very. But I wanted to say something.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to hear a woman's perspective.
Women's perspective. Yeah. For me, I think it was with the information we had at the time, we all assumed that it was sex or money. But as we have grown deeper in understanding marriage, we are seeing that it's not just sex and money are the ripple effect. Yeah, there are deeper issues. There's like you said, there's a communication issue, there's an expectation issue that usually, because those are the key elements of marriage, sex, money, parenting, all those things that's why you now think that, okay, this is the sex and money. It's not. It's the fact that, because like Taiwo said, poor people are in love and happy. They don't have money, So it's the fact that, see, I have an expectation of what we should be like financially. I have an expectation of the kind of sex I want, and they're not meeting that. And then that begins to ripple into wahala. So if it's the money, he or she is placing some kind. I know a very amazing person who divorced his wife because she just didn't want to work. She said she only work when she's in the mood. And I know when he was going through that experience, I started asking people that, what will you do? Many men were like, I'll marry her. I mean, if she wants to work when she's in the mood, it's fine. I'll take care of her. My job is to take care of her. I don't have a problem with that. But for him, that was a big problem. So the problem wasn't money. The problem was that he was raised in an environment where women are strong. Women take charge. Women are entrepreneurial. Women are driven. And he couldn't just be married to someone who only worked when she felt like. So that is how that marriage went down, But another human being with the same situation, that would be okay. That kind of narrows it down to, it's not about the sex and money. It's really about the expectations and communication.
So that typically means that where we're environment, upbringing plays a major factor in how we think and the expectation and perceptions that we have.
Yeah.
And so that would probably lead me into my next question, because knowing that it is more of a perception thing and an expectation thing, right? What are the questions to help, firstly? Because I personally feel like a lot of people are not self-aware. And then some people who are self-aware don't know how to guide it when they meet people who are not as self-aware as they are, right? And so when they get into that marriage, one person kind of has an expectation of, but I understand these things. You should just learn from me or just grow up automatically. So more to improve self-awareness for a better marriage. So you answer from a male perspective. And what are 3 first questions? Even you guys have dated for 6 months. Because when people do this, we did it in 6 months and we got married the same year.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but okay. So I'm saying what are the questions, maybe first 5 questions that are very important to ask to your intended spouse?
I mean, I think that we have a session what we call skin deep. Yeah, skin deep. So if you are in a relationship that you think that this will be valuable in terms of doing life, we take you through a series of questions that sort of cut across different. And part of what you want to know is you want to sort of deep dive into essence. What makes you, when you face challenges, tell me an experience where you really, you were down and how did you sort of navigate it? What sort of hit you? You want to know how the person sort of responds to pressure. Because that's very important, because where the idea of doing life with people is that it comes with its own level of pressure. It's like the way I explain it, the same. Imagine you're trying to drill a nail into a wall. Imagine the kind of intensity that we feel like trying to bond requires that it's lovey-dovey, but sometimes it requires that both of you are trying to, in the process of fusion, there is breaking, right? And that breaking would really, how do you enjoy the breaking process, or do you weaponize the breaking process, or do you I think first of all you sort of know where the person is at in terms of essence, what is the core of this person, and there's several questions sort of to ask around having deeper conversations. Than play conversations are good because that's really what makes us sort of socialize, but you want to get to the nitty-gritty of sort of knowing someone. You want to know how they think about spirituality, and that's very important. How do they situate their connection with God? Is it something that it's significant part of their life, or it's something they have to do? Because what spirituality does is that it centers you beyond what you see in the world, because there's so much distraction, there's so much things that are flowing around. What centers you? So, for example, someone tells you this is how, I've been in a conversation with a friend that says it's normal to slap a woman. So this is no jokes, right? Because for them, when they are with a woman that is confident of herself and the woman is asking questions, the way to get her to align with you is to sort of he used I'll say it in Yoruba, I said malaite. What that means is that I would have to carve her so that she gets a sense of this is where you are coming from. Imagine you are in that sort of community, and when people feel like I was talking to a very elderly man in his 60s, and he says that he was telling me that if a guy does not smoke, womanize, what's the third one? Drink,
yeah.
Then it's not masculine enough. That it is impossible, that it cannot rationalize. And at the point where he was speaking to me, I started, I'm connected spiritually, but guess what? I was rationalizing it. You get what I mean? They call me Pastor Taiwo, but real life, every day I'm a lot more than just being a pastor. But imagine me rationalizing that thought process. That, okay, this man has a wife, but what defines masculinity? So being spiritual sort of centers you, because the world is full of so many distractions, so many immaturity, so many ideologies that are not self-serving. So I think that trying to do that to the core of the person is very important. A lot of people, like you said, are not sort of self-aware to even know what makes them, what their essence is. Some people are just strolling through life and enjoying life. And so I think that I will stay at essence. A lot of people sort of speak to other areas.
Yeah.
I don't know if I sort of nailed that in a way that sort of helps.
I mean, yes, it would have just been helpful if you gave specific questions.
Okay, so I think that what does a spiritual life look like when you are
At your highest.
at your highest? Yeah, that's something that is very key. How does it play out? So it's an open-ended question when the people sort of tell a story about when they felt deeply connected and what they did at that moment, what they jumped on. You also want to ask things that are as basic as, would you allow me spend, say we got married, would you allow me spend few days with my friends, like 3 or 4 days. I'm hanging out with my friends. How does that sort of resonate with you? Things like, are you open to what kind of 18 plus? We're not censoring anything.
Don't worry, we're 18 plus. We're 18 plus, don't worry.
Yeah, so you also want to ask about their sexual preference, like how wild they can be when it comes to their idea of sex. You don't want to assume that this person is just we know sex is good, but you want to know whether the person is in the kinky, in terms of spectrum, is in the kinky sex spectrum, or is in the one we know. You get
This is the one we know.
Which one do you know?
Amen.
The same with the one I know.
I don't know.
you want to know what habits that they have that you want to get into radical honesty around what was their growing up, what habits did they pick that they're sort of dealing with. So you want to even know if person was trained. I was speaking to a Christian dating couple, and I asked if they were okay with weed. I think we had a weed question, and they think yeah, it's fine. Like in my mind, I was like startled, but you at that point you just realize that this person didn't have a problem with marijuana. So you want to ask about habits, you want to ask about their spiritual life, you want to ask about sexual preference, you want to ask how they relate with friends, you want to ask how they relate with in-laws. Very key. That's if you are doing marriage. But if you are doing relationship, like Sinad was I'll recommend a book by Maureen Oluwatobi, like 30 questions you ask when you're dating. I'll probably sniff off the book and just mention one or two, but I'm speaking to if you're really serious about getting married to this person. Those are the kind of questions that I hope that help.
Okay. Thank you. I like to posture as, okay, now with all the awareness I have now, if I'm going to, press a magic button and go back in time, 11 years and I'm single again, what will I now be asking? Because 11 years ago, I was asking, what's your favorite musician? We have to have the same sync with music because, I can't be listening to classic Michael Bublé and be listening to like Fela or something, that's silly.
But that's valid.
Are you sure?
That's actually valid. Because if I hear one whiskey in my house, if I hear any Ashake in my house, it's over.
Let me tell you, when I now married, I now hated LB music I liked. I like every music I hated. See life? So those things are good, interesting, but if I were to take this thing again, I would ask Taiwo, number one, what are your weaknesses? And the reason why I'm asking him what his weaknesses are is because I want to test and see if he's the kind of person that is aware of his strengths and his weaknesses. And I also want to know if he's doing something about them. Because what I've seen in marriage now is the most important thing I used to tell anybody, if you want to marry, forget height, forget shoe, is this person malleable? Because what Taiwo said is you are using nail to break a wall. That breaking is not easy. If you were a wall, you will not like it. You were on your own by yourself, smooth, curvy. Now someone is now cracking you. Why? So that process requires somebody to bend. Okay, me, I like to wake up 5 a.m. and play loud music. Your spouse does not. How are you guys going to meet in the middle? Do you get? How are you going to make it work? So that somebody has to be malleable to say, okay, instead of 5 o'clock play music, maybe I'll just have to play music with headphones. Another person will say, okay, instead of depriving this person of their joy of music, maybe I'll just put earplugs. So you see that people are bending to adjust. So I want to know if you are aware of your weaknesses, and I want to know if you are working on them. That tells me that you are malleable. That tells me that you reflect and you question your thoughts that were strong before, and you're asking yourself, is this still relevant today? That's important. Another thing that I will ask is, what are your very key values? Like what I was saying is so important when he was like, Malaite. That's a value system right there. Yeah. And people will tell you, unconsciously or consciously, what values guide them. Somebody that I don't take rubbish. I remember I met someone, he was like, I remember why I walked away from that talking stage. The guy said, I don't want to date a girl with a past. I don't like any girl with past. And I'm like, I've past test. Pastilo. I'm pasting. Pastalin. So we will not work out. So that he has already shared his values for him. And that's important to him. He wants a pure girl who has never made any mistakes. That's his value system. He's not a bad person. That's what's important to him. Another person will say, I cannot be around a girl that is fat. Do you get? You have to be slim till we die. It's okay. That's his value system. Another one says, see, I like people who are fashionable. Even when you wake up, makeup fully on your face, this looks so shallow to you, but these are things that guide people, and it may be shallow to you, but it's critical to that person. So I want to know these value systems that guide you. I want to see if we align in that value system. So I will ask, so what are the kind of values that are important to you? Kindness is important to me. So I know that if I'm somebody that, if I have a house help or someone that, and I used to slap them, I know that me and this guy will not work out because kindness is important to him. And I think this is the final thing I most likely will ask now is, where are you going? Number one. And this place you are going, how do I fit in? Because it's one thing for a guy to have a vision where he's going in life. It may change in the next 10 years, but at least he knows where he's going. And it's another thing for him to say, okay, the reason I'm marrying you is because I see we align. That one is very important to me because I don't want a situation where and the man is going on his journey and I'm a nuisance. Do you get? I'm something that he has to tolerate or cope with. Or I remember I went to a friend's house. She just bought a house. They just bought a house. They just moved in and I went to visit. I was like, oh, Kemi, your house is so lovely. And she was like, yeah, I don't know. They just woke me up one morning that we have a house. So, and I just packed my load and I just moved in. I was like, you were not the one that chose the colors. You were not the one that chose the location. I said, no, he just carried me. So I don't see them as a partnership. Do you get? It's just, I'm carrying one madam. To marry, I don't marry. Or when my husband wanted to fix the car, and he said, okay, before I buy a car, I think before I buy this car, let me talk to my wife about it. And the guy say, what? Woman, where you put for us when they ask her a question about car, where you won't buy? So people think that way because some people have an impression that a woman is somebody that you just marry like a checklist. I've done NYC, I don't make small money now, I will now marry. While others see a woman as a partner. This is where I'm going in life. And I need somebody who has this skill, that skill, that skill. Even if the skill is nurturing children. Even if the skill is being able to hold a home. Even if the skill is somebody that we can rub minds together in my enterprise. Even if the skill is, okay, you are a 9-to-5 person so that you will balance me when I'm taking risk. I need to know where you are going and I need to know how you have considered me fitting in. Then I'll know I'm going into a partnership as against, some traditional narratives and I'm just going to be put in my place. I don't know if all this makes sense.
I forgot to mention that also you want to sort of know how their journey has shaped their life. So you want to go back in time and you want to sort of journal and talk about me in your childhood. How's your childhood like? Very important, very good question. Let him articulate. Some of them have not had time to sort of articulate that journey. And it's very important because you now begin to give more grace, right? The reason why you get into so much conflict that you don't have a lot of grace. When I started understanding my wife's childhood and then I understood it a lot better, I was a lot more, I had more empathy. The lack of understanding of that makes me a lot more judgmental, creating a level of performance that I place on us. So you want to sort of journal with each other and say, tell me about your childhood. Tell me when you're in primary school. And, so there's no like one direct question. It has to be open-ended because you are using that sort of get the data that you need. So I think that's something that you want to see how their journey has sort of shaped their life. And that's something that you have to do.
Amazing.
Chike, do you want to ask any question?
Let's keep going. I think I'm also being lectured also.
That's quite interesting. Okay, so I have a couple of questions here, but I mostly don't know how to follow rules. I mostly don't know how to follow rules. So because of what you said, I think when I was sitting here, I was thinking about how I feel like the modern disposition for relationship is kind of, paving way for a very catastrophic marital So now, with what you have seen from supposed feminists or people I was speaking to someone the other day and I said, feminism was born from trauma. And a lot of people who are feminists are people who got into feminism from trauma. And not a lot of them have healed. I understand going from there to healing because taking a lecture of feminism, I took a course in feminism when I was in school, right? And it was just women who were tired, staying at home, of not doing anything, they were tired. most of them had husbands who didn't even come back with much, right? And so some of them even worked, but they were the whole story for everything that feminism or the ideology is about. And a few of them, and I was saying to the person that the only reason why feminism worked was because men also took interest. And so there were some men who loved their wives enough to say, yes, women deserve this. And so coming to a generation where it feels like there's an agenda to decenter men, and that has now evolved into what feminists are fighting for. And then you still want to get married at the end of the day. And in your marriage, you also want to decenter men. I want you to, from like what you've seen also counseling people recently that have gone married or they've divorced, where would you say that the 21st century generation marriage is heading to? And how do you think, especially women, can help curb this? Because I don't think being a nurturer is bad or it's not a skill to attain for. And I don't think that everybody's going to be in the boardroom, right? But now this necessity to decenter men or to not make a man the love of your life or, the head of your house at this point. And somebody has said, I don't know what the video where the lady has talked about, she didn't agree with the Bible because the Bible had certain things that she didn't agree with. But I understand it's of context and trauma. But then there are women who believe that. There's so many women who don't believe what the Bible talks about when it talks about men. But I also understand it's a thing of not understanding the context of what was written in the scripture and having like a deeper understanding of what it meant. But I really want you to speak on 21st century marriages, what you have seen, and if that, some women or some men are not careful, a lot more people will end up coming out of marriages that they could have built to become something beautiful.
Mm-hmm. The way you want to hit it, or
I have my definition of what feminism is that has guided my narrative on that topic. Yeah. And I did speak on it in the book. It was for me, women fighting for girls to have education in Pakistan. It was for me, Susan B. Adams fighting for women to vote in America. They should have a voice. It was for me, maybe Ransom Kuti. Mm-hmm. Fighting for market women to be able to not have to pay exorbitant taxes. So I sort of have an idea of what feminism is. It's the same thing with when we fight for children not to be abused or girls under 13 to be married. What do you know? You know? So when I look at what women have now transformed that struggle into, it's very concerning because, like she said, it is now people who have taken their trauma, which if you want to solve a problem, you must first understand where the other person is coming from. So honestly, a lot of homes had men who took advantage of the woman's humility and her subservientness. So they had taken advantage of it, and they had used their low self-esteem as men to further lower a woman. And young girls were raised in these homes where their mother was lighted, their mother was disenfranchised, their mother did not have a say, their mother's dreams and goals were destroyed because she had to sacrifice them for raising children. And you will not understand the trauma. It makes complete sense, But then in life, there is always balance. And if you want to attack this whole narrative that is now ruling, you must understand that it's not just the woman's problem. It's not just the woman who is running with this narrative. There's a man too that has a responsibility to say that, see, I understand you. I understand your struggle, but this is how I'm presenting myself to you in this relationship. I'm presenting myself to you as a partner. I'm not presenting myself to you as someone who's going to come and domineer you. I'm presenting myself as a leader, but not a leader to bully you, but a servant leader. Do you get? And it's not all girls that will accept it because trauma is deep. Do you get? Trauma is not, and I want to be very careful not to judge those girls. I want to be, because nobody knows what some people grew up to see. Some people's mothers killed themselves because of the badness of their marriage. They've grown up and seen this trauma. They've lost their mother because a man bullied her. They've lost their mother's sanity. This is how deep these things go. And I'm not. It's not my place to come and say, change. Use your sense, read the Bible. No, it is my place to understand. And then if you are looking for a partner with that trauma, you must understand that the partner you're looking for cannot, your father is not your partner. Your father is not your boyfriend or your husband or whoever. That should not serve as a wall. It should serve as a net. It should be able to filter who, now you know the kind of man you will not marry. You know the kind of partner you will not bring into your life because you have seen what a bad partner can do. Do you get so now? And then the man who is coming to you, understanding your trauma, instead of judging you very quickly. I want feminists. No, you should say, okay, this girl comes with so much strength, but this aspect of her is broken. How can I give her strength or weapon or tools that she will use and say, okay, this person has alluded or has suppressed my worry? Because it's not all feminists that are bad. They are human beings. They are lovely ladies. They are ambitious ladies. They just are broken somewhere. And brokenness doesn't mean it can never be healed. I remember there was this saying about this Japanese art, right? Where a broken pot, they take their time to fix a broken pot and it becomes more beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of that art. Where they fix a broken pot. Yeah, they now use gold to, so a girl who is broken because of past trauma or upbringing can become gold if a real man, and I do mention that in this way, a real man knows how to handle her and not judge her and not cascade her, throw her away, just manage her and bring that beauty out of her by constantly reassuring her that I'm not your dad. And then the woman in herself has a place to play and say, all men are not the same. That is a shallow way to think. I need to understand individuals for who they are. And this is my perception when I think of this topic.
All right. Thank you, Dupe.
I think that before I wanted to answer, he has said something that every time someone says it, I'm not sure how to understand. What is a real man?
That I will
you
say
said it in that book, yeah.
What? Because when people
I need
say,
to read it out.
I do have it actually all listed out.
Oh, it's in here.
I took my time.
Guys, this book
real
is a
man.
must get.
I don't know, because someone, like you said, the mechanic, right, has different qualities that his wife saw and liked. Which if you present yourself to her, she's like, no, I pick my husband. My husband is a real man.
Yeah.
What is a real man?
I mean, I just encourage. I think that a real man sees you and knows you. A real man is not insecure. Yeah, a real man is not in. A real man sees your value and sees it as something to embolden, something to announce. So if I'm announcing my wife and my wife is somewhere, I call her, say, I realize her credentials, which is right. I'm not putting her, behind. A woman wants you to shine, unleashes you. A woman cares for you, right? A woman is not necessarily a provider, because I also have an issue with the cultural identity around
provision.
There's nowhere in people of faith, the Bible, that called man a provider. There's nowhere. You can do your research. A man is someone who stewards. I think that's something more elevated and beautiful. You steward your children, you steward the home to the degree that by the time they are done with the experience that you've created, they become the best version of themselves, right? You steward resources, you grow wealth, you give them a mentality of wealth, you give them a mentality of progress, right? Some people, their own ideas that I want my child to be the best mathematician. You carry that ideal and you sort of bring it in, and so you have substance, you have something to give. So I think that there is that's who a real man is. A real man is not sort of putting an expectation or label on the wife based on what satisfies you. You are curating a home that is based on what outcome you want to see and not what feeds you, or someone who sits down and kneels down to feed me. That is if you base your idea of relationship around what culturally, because marriage is culture, marriage is spiritual, marriage is union. You can stay on the cultural level of what marriage sort of gives, and it would, if it were to give you 100, it will probably give you maybe 0.5% of what this union can actually birth. So I think that I don't know if I've sort of given you a perspective of what a real
man talking about real men.
But I also want to piggyback on the feminist thing, right? I had 5. How many? Like, we're at the beach. I think I had like about 3 feminists that I had a very interesting conversation with, and it was very good because he allowed me It allowed me to understand the mind, and it allowed me to do further research on this movement. And one of them, there's injustice in the world, and the best way to cure injustice is not trying to seek for equality. Equality breeds injustice, right? Equity breeds injustice. So, for example, child rights, right? You create child rights today, and child rights is creating a level of injustice where women and parents and children are taken into foster home because there's a perceived idea that a child has to be protected, right? So the more look at how if you go to South Africa, they are trying to promote the black supremacy. What that has happened is now there's now white discrimination. So when you are trying to create a just society, how do we engineer a just society? And that's where it's missing. Affirmative action is temporal, but it's not the way to sort of create a society that heals. Right? So how do you create justice in the world is something that we have to introspect, and it's not by creating Black Life Matters. See what Black Life Matters is sort of what it has birthed. It has birthed more of the white people are the problem. And Candace Owen says, if you have a permanent view of being a victim, you become your own oppressor. So what happens is that when you create that, okay, you are the cause of my problem, what happens is that if you hold that permanent view, you would self-sabotage. Yeah, so that's typically that what happens. So what has happened in our idea of counsel is that most marriages, to be honest with you, people can sort of attest to that have a lot of cracks. It's people holding to you are the problem, and holding to ideologies that were birthed from trauma, right? And that's why spirituality centers you, because a number of the things you read and books that you read, when you look at it beneath, I was reading a sales book. What's the name of that sales book? I can't forget the name now. Sales playbook. And when I was reading, 10x, 10x. I don't know if you know the book. If you read 10x, I was reading, but I said, why are you angry? Be calming down, because if I took that book and I took everything and the essence of that person, I'll be so ruthless. I would once I see you underperforming, I will sack you, right? So I just honestly think that the fourth wave of feminism was driven out of trauma, not out of creating justice in the world. Any ideology that is not betting justice, what is justice? Justice is dealing with the systemic cause that is betting the injustice, rather than treating the individual. And so, how do you create systems that allow women empowered? It means, okay, how do we create more? How do we ensure that education becomes mainstay, right? And how do we ensure that girls are educated? So, what is the system, the root cause that is birthing injustice? That's what you fix, right? And I don't want to go spiritual, right? It's really fixing the matter of the heart, making people whole and centered. So, I mean, I think the only view that you should have I was teaching the couples and I was telling them that as an individual, like even though you are very philosophical and you have principle in life, don't be hardline, right? The problem of being hardline is that you do not cultivate, you don't self-improve. There is no concept that doesn't that does not improve. Else, in fact, God is a God of beauty. God, I don't know if I'll just go a bit, if this is a faith, I don't know if it's a faith.
Go ahead.
Place. Yeah, if you look at the story of the potter, if you heard of the story of the potter and the clay, he created something that looked beautiful, but he said it was not as beautiful inside. What did he destroyed it? And he created something more beautiful. Never hold on to an ideal, even though there's some rema that you've gotten or scripted. Look at Daddy Jew that said, if you pay tithe, you will not go to heaven. Today, he's saying that it was wrong. Imagine some people holding off. I was probably suspended. As I was suspended for that view where I said it's not correct. I was suspended for challenging the incorrectness of that. Yeah. But imagine people absorbing that and running with that for the next 10 years, only for the person that created it. And if you listen to Chiamanda recently, I listened to her, I think one of our when she had a tour with this lady, president of America.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting her name now. That ran against Donald Trump. Kamala. And he said that if you mistreat men, it's not about feminism, you are badly behaved. Now, so imagine people running with the idea of Chiamanda, and at the end of the day, she's trying to say that it is not my views that are wrong, that you are badly behaved and making it look like what I'm saying is against men. So at the end of the day, I personally don't like to, like my wife said, be malleable, right? With your personal view of life. The only thing that centers is what God says about you are enough, you are loved. Any personal view that you have held on to would evolve and embrace the evolution. Embrace, actually, when it causes tension, is a point where you know that whatever it is you're holding on to that is causing tension, that is not allowing you to do life, is a point of improvement, a point of making it better, a point of reflection. It means that anything that does not have the grace to invite, then it's something to check. Anything that you're holding on to that is not inviting people, then it's something to check. Yeah. So that's really the gospel is an invitation. It's not go away. It's coming. So that's really anything that does not allow you to come in, then it's something you sort of need to check.
That's such an answer. So I think that Chike, can we take it to the audience?
Please, if they have questions, please.
Does anybody have questions in the audience? Does anybody want to say anything? Do you have questions? Hey, Chike, do you have questions or you have remarks? No, you always have remarks, not questions. Do you have questions?
I think
I said you have remarks.
Give him the mic, please.
Give him the mic.
After him, Amaka.
So I think this was good in terms of the balance of everything. I think check. Okay. So I think at the end of the day, it's striking a balance between everything. Yes, the concept of a real man, in my opinion, will vary based on different people. People will define what a real man is to them at any point in time. But I mean, what you've mentioned are like key principles that should sort of guide anyone. But I mean, it's relative to everybody. And I think, just like you both mentioned, the key thing to many of the issues we see in society today isn't really a function of feminism or, men being oppressed. Even let me speak in that regard. But it's a function of people who have different issues that they have not dealt with. So a lady would have issues with a guy who speaks in a certain way because it reminds her of how her father used to speak to her mother. A guy would have issues with a lady who's always wanted to be in his business because it will remind him of how his mother was always on his neck and nagging him for different things. So at the end of the day, I think one thing that I think will probably need to be infused into counseling and stuff like that is just having people understand who they are. A lot of people don't understand themselves. A lot of people don't understand what are the things that trigger. A lot of people don't understand what makes them react the way they react when certain situations come into play. So that's my 2 cents, and I'll keep it short. So I think that's the real key issue in everything that we do. It plays out in society. The politicians go into politics, they forget where they came from. They don't understand. They refuse to understand why people are reacting the way they are. The people who are the followers also fail to realize that there are certain things that cannot be discussed in public because of national interest and the effects it will have. I.e., let me just try, and this is on a lighter note, the whole Benin Republic thingy that happened recently and everything. And everybody's shouting and everything. And in my head, I'm smiling because I said, I know there were certain conversations that were held at top level that cannot be discussed publicly. And everybody is playing a game of chess.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we are the chessboard. So we have to live with it.
So I sort of want to say something. Yeah. Now, the challenge with people who are not self aware is the fact that now we're in a world, like you said, 21st century, where everybody has an opinion. And it gets really, see how culture is very powerful. Ronaldo changed his haircut. Then there was social media, just watching his haircut. Everybody started,
Going
changing.
about it.
Yeah. The whole idea, I asked the guy why he got into it. The fact that Wizkid would go to social media handle and blow that felt very now. So people who have a sort of influence to shape culture, right? Their hurt can be contagious, right? And that's why I like what Unbothered is doing, because the idea is that hurt people will create a a a sense of hurt to the degree that it now becomes feminism and patriarchy has become cultural issues that is plaguing today marriages, even for people who are self-interest. Like, I don't care what a man does to me, but now they care, right? And they see a man from the spectrum of like battle of sexes. The man sees like that there's someone promoting like being defining masculinity to the degree that it's about dominance, it's about presence, it's about strength, it's about and
It's even more than that. Sorry to cut you. Because see this thing that we do on social media where when he probably flags you out on in vacation. That's why I asked the question about the rape. Then he's the real man.
Yes.
Exactly.
Then you see girlfriends who, with their boyfriends, are looking at boyfriends like, you're not a... I'm like,
like
from where to where?
like and if you're so definitions are beginning to change because and that's why we understand that culture and media is the most potent tool that shapes society, right? And we are having to evolve and dealing with 21st century issues. A number of issues we've had to deal with in marriage today are typically the problem of 21st century, right? Traditional issues had what they were dealing with. They had system and structures that were dealing with. Didn't mean that they had happier homes. But what we're having now is more a high level of like the fact that the marriage institution for me is if care is not taken will look like business, will look like a legal contract than actually doing life, right? And so while I know that individually people are yet to heal, what I'm typically afraid of, and we have to we're sort of having to deal with, is that how is this negative idea of who a woman is and how a woman acts in marriage, how is it sort of affecting marriages? If you speak to divorce lawyers, I've had to handle divorce situations. I'm dealing with one abroad, I'm dealing with some in Nigeria, and I see that it's this media and expose that is shaping our culture and redefining what marriage is or relationship that is sort of destroying the home. I'm hoping that this kind of project, we can have key sponsors, key people that can back this kind of things. To say that do not hold a permanent view of a victimhood. Do not hold, nobody's your problem. You are the agency of your life. Go into marriage and serve. Go into marriage and outgive, outlove, out. You are not going there, is he providing for me? Is he taking me to Seychelles? Go into, don't go into marriage trying to say this person is asked to do this before. I think, I was telling my wife how people were dating back in the day, like in the 90s. I married 2014. At 2000 and 2005, in the Christian community, the way dating was typically different from what it is now. It's like I go to my pastor, I like this girl, right? They invite the girl, have you prayed about it? The girl says, I will pray about it. And guess what? You guys go straight into courtship. Like, you are not trying to ask question. What is it? But give or take, in terms of the sample size of, I'm looking at the marriages of those people in the 2000s, right? I can't tell, but I'm seeing that some of the things that it sort of cut the line around expectation. It's like I'm coming. It was a spiritual experience, it was a spiritual duty, and they served it that way. However, some people abuse it. I see this fine girl. It's very easy. God, I prayed about it, and I see this person is my wife. The pastor sees this person is, I just want this person to marry, right? So sort of that model is not working. Now, in this sort of experiment, it's more like we are doing more social experiments around the culture of dating. How do you treat that? And is the experiment really helping you optimize for who this person, So it's really a difficult thing that, can I answer the question? No, but what I can do is to arm you and equip you with tools to avoid, they say call 911
Before you say I do.
Is that one of the things I can sort of advise you to do is really focus on the essence of this person, not because you want to say, I'm not doing it again and I've seen my mother. What that does is that it allows you to recalibrate your expectation. It allows you to see the person from the prism of, okay, this person is all of this. Am I ready to do life with this person? So, for example, you are dating a guy, you say he likes to go to the club. He likes to go to strip club, right? And you say, okay, are you going to say, okay, I'm not doing, but I know someone who said I'm doing, and they're navigating it properly, right?
What is properly?
Yeah. I know some people who say I want to go there and say I want to change him, or when it goes to I want to change him. Like one of the things that I want to say is that the idea of asking question is not necessarily to say I'm not doing. The idea of asking question is saying, are you ready
to know what you're getting into?
Right? And you are not going to say, I want to recalibrate this man. I am going to journey our experience and knowing each other. My wife, I was very eschewed when I got married. My wife was very like a bubbly. If you check that playlist, she had maybe 1 or 2 Christian songs. My own playlist, there's nothing, but
there's nothing close to God.
It wasn't close to that. But I said, you know what? I embraced the diversity. And I said that, you know what? Today, I am more into secular music. Like I enjoy good music. My wife is not into that kind of thing. She just wants to change the world, change HR, change management. She's not even in
help people, help marriages.
Space anymore, right? And I got that because by virtue I worked in Pulse, like I was the head of growth, and guess what? And that's why the Christian community needs to sort of think about it, because I'm in Pulse and I see how media is doing a lot. Like I worked there for a while, for about 3-4 years, and I see how the entire culture, and I saw how it progressed, and I watched it, and I saw that it happen today. What are we doing as a community to really invest? See millions invested in that company, and like you don't get millions for this. So I'm hoping that personally sort of create this investment and awareness. How do we create what seems like a centered and wholesome way of engaging this conversation, so that this is how we should do life from this foundation, from this basis, from this base point. So I use my mic.
Thank you very much for that. So I think at the end of the day, it goes down to the fundamentals of everything. And everything that, like they say, starts in the home and starts from, learning and all of that. Mm-hmm. So I think the reason why we are where we are is a function of where people should get the learnings from. It's not available there. So what then happens now is that people then rely on the media. And the reality is that what used to happen in the 90s, late 80s and things like that, where everything was sort of structured in the sense that, you meet a girl, you have to go through the whole passport process and everything like that. Even though you have instances where that didn't work, like she was mentioning just now, you still have instances that wouldn't work. The reason why you see a lot of marriages, breaking today is just that people don't understand the concept of it. They go for counseling. But because of the way they've been wired, they haven't gotten that education or that training. You don't have parents sitting down children to talk to them about marriage, talking to them about life. They make marriage seem like it's something that you just give a lecture. You don't give the practicality about it. Like, hey, when your father used to shout, used to do this is what I used to do. So people don't understand that. And for me, as a person, the foundations that I've seen is more, people learn more from what they see, unfortunately. And unfortunately, what they see now is social media. And what you see back in the home doesn't represent what you want in your life. So what then happens is that you blind your eyes to seeing beyond what you see on the surface. I grew up in Sri Lanka. I grew up in a neighborhood of Adelabu, and the people who own the property that I lived in majority of my life then. He's about 93 or 94 now, right? He retired as an ED in UBA. He was one who built that UBA building there. And one key thing I noticed in the marriage between him and his wife was that they had a very clear mutual understanding. And in fairness, if you could say somebody who had the opportunity or the ability to be promiscuous was a banker, there was influence, was money, was everything. But you would see that no matter what happened, we never at any point in time heard of any scandal. We never, in the 20-something years I lived in that building, never saw them fight. I never saw them argue. I never saw them have disagreements. I could see once or few instances that they would grumble, but it was clear mutual understanding. What was the principle behind it? This man has taken up the responsibility of ensuring that we have shelter. He has taken up the responsibility of ensuring that the kids go to school and is paying their fees. The least I can do as a wife is to ensure that there's food on the table. She would never ask this man, and this is not hearsay. I saw it in my own eyes because we're quite close. I even called them my grandparents because we're that close. She would never ask him for money for food, for money to buy food stuff or anything. She would do businesses herself to create revenue. She would sell adire, she would sell lace, to do different things, to generate revenue, to do that. He on his own part will still drop money. It's not that he takes away, but it was that concept of understanding that, okay, this is a journey that we are in together and that we are going to run this race till we die. So what I'm driving at now is that you don't have such examples these days. You don't have people who are preaching that. And that's why this platform is good. And I think it's an individual thing that we all need to take up a responsibility in that in our little conversations that we have with people every day, we have to try and change that narrative. Because I'm sorry to say, a lot of these kids, I don't use the word kids, a lot of these young people are so hooked on this thing that people quote what celebrities say. China last week came up with a policy that if you do not have a certification
in the
topic in which you are speaking about, I will shut you down, you will go to jail. Clear principle.
Because Mirage should be in jail.
and the reality is that many times, because we always have a bit of we don't look at things from a collaborative perspective as people. When the government comes out and says they want to censor or they want to ban social media, people look at it from a perspective of, they are silencing the truth.
Control.
But nobody comes to say, why are they saying what they are saying? I've been opportune to see the people in government at different instances. And when I hear some of the things that they say and the reasons why they push certain narratives, it's just like you mentioned about striking that balance in between. When the things they tell me is like, I don't have a problem with people speaking. I don't have people expressing their views. But when somebody comes out and goes on social media and it goes viral and the person is pushing a narrative or saying something against somebody that is going to have a ripple effect that they have no control over what that thing is going to do society-wise, the damage control that we have to do back end, it becomes a problem for me as the Minister of Information. It becomes a problem for me as the President. It becomes a problem for me as a governor. So I'm talking too much now.
But it is a deeper conversation we sort of need to have.
Break up.
Maybe a topic on like really looking at 21st century and collaboratively configure something like an open house, right? To really say let's identify like the negative things that we hear and really clear that. Me, I'm not for like censorship, right? I am for, and I'm not for counterculture.
Sure. I
am for elevated culture. Mm-hmm. I'm for culture that is higher, and I'm for investment in, like I'm really for proper investment. I'm sort of blame the government because you sort of have huge budget for NOA and all of those things, but you don't have the right set of people to sort of decentralize it and spearhead. If you have an elevated culture, right? You see what Turning Point America is doing, and even though it's more counterculture, right? I think that we can create more elevated culture campaigns to the degree that our what we say is inviting. And I think that once you do that, you realize that you now have more people sort of, we can sort of douse the effect of, I know China is sort of, they censor everything, and yeah, it's good for them, but I honestly don't think that, I would rather create a free society.
Okay. Let's leave government talk of the show. Thanks and God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I like this kind of topics.
I think they should not give mic to.
I think there's something Zora always say, and she said it on the first show, and since then it has stuck. I think we need to count the cost of the conversation of marriage, because in what you are saying, in what he said and what she has said, it goes back to also say that because people do not count the cost of what will it be if I enter into this marriage with this person. And that's where also self-awareness comes into, because if you know yourself as a person, there was a time in my life where I didn't know. I was jumping from one lady to the other. And thank God for God in my life. Yes. And also, even when I was trying to correct that act, I was hitting a brick wall. I was listening to the lawyer Sexton, the divorce lawyer. He also even subbed himself because he's divorced also. He's divorced once. And he said something. He said, I find out that when I'm talking to couples who want to leave their marriage, it is in the divorce room. That's where many of them understood the legalities and some of the intricacies of what they entered. And he's like, what were you guys talking about? And he also told himself, he also said it about himself that so certain things that happened between him and his ex-wife, in the things he has come to understand, he would have acted on some certain levels differently. And it now brings me to the concept of, call 911 before you say I do is real. Because if people are now having the concept, and when I saw that lady's video about feminism and about men, I was pained, not because I was angry at her, but because I think somebody has, or maybe she has not done enough study to understand that if you say you are, and she was shouting it, I'm a Christian, I believe in God, and you say, but a man cannot be the leader of my home. It goes deeper to show that she has not done a study of the God that she says she believes in. Because the God that you know you believe in has placed it as, there's a reason why I put a man to lead. And because I know. And there's a reason why I put a woman as his helpmate. And if only some women, when they do a lot of that push, when I see those things, I'm like, if you know the power that you have as a woman, that you can have as my wife over me, you're not going to see that leadership sometimes. We just wake up. But I think it's beautiful that these conversations are happening. And again, there's somebody, you said something like you thought you were going to change him in the question and conversation we had at the beginning. And I've been there also as a man. I thought I was going to change her. I'm not God. I can't change anybody. And then I didn't understand all of these things of who am I or who is she, and what the things you said. I've gone through some of the skin deep questions, and those questions are interesting. Also, if you still have ego, you if you still have ego as a man, when you go through some of those questions, you yourself, you could hear, or who, calm down. These are real questions. You just have to now remove the ego in you as a man, because it can be strong. Even sometimes in recent times, I still find myself showing off some certain things when especially it threatens me and it's me seeing it from my brokenness, that why would she be asking me this question like this? Meanwhile, this person just trying to help. You get? So I think it goes back to now also saying that people enter these things without even checking the cost of what the journey will be. And I was seeing a social media reel the other day where friends and family, 3 years, 2 years, although almost down to 36 years in marriage. And what the 2 years, 3 years people talked about in their marriage now. When the 36 years people in marriage came on, I was like, to be very honest with you, understanding, discipline, wisdom, and God is very needed in marriage.
Yeah. So I think I want to ask Dupe one last question.
I think Amaka wanted to ask a question.
No, before I go to Amaka, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Modupe, I would like you to define a virtuous woman.
Hey. Zara came hard today.
No.
Man.
So,
virtuous
no,
woman.
Calm down.
You came prepared.
I didn't come very prepared. I sat down here and it actually popped in my head to ask the question: what is a virtuous woman, or who is a virtuous woman?
Are we looking at it from the perspective of the Bible's definition, or just general call today? Who is a virtuous man today?
To be very honest, if you ask me that question, I would say that you can't separate one from the other, right? So I'll just answer it the way you would.
Okay. A virtuous woman. I don't like, to be honest, I don't like putting things like, even though I've now used the term and the term has been questioned, real man, virtuous woman, I just want to talk about a virtuous person. And I want to talk about, in the context of a real man, a real person, So if I look at it from that perspective, a virtuous person is first somebody who is not self-absorbed. I think one of the things, after counseling tons of people and speaking to tons of people, putting this in the context of a woman, tons of women, you find that some of the people that make the worst decisions, that hurt people, that destroy homes, are usually very self-absorbed. It's all about me. It's all about me, how it's going to benefit me, what's in it for me, what am I bringing to the table, me, my, I. And a virtuous person is somebody who first says, this action I'm taking, this thing I'm doing, how does it impact him, her? How does it impact this person? Yes. And how am I influencing this person's life? Am I making it better? Am I making it worse? So a person, if you meet a person who is always thinking that way, that's the first trait of identifying someone who is virtuous, Another thing, and that also ripples into the person will be kind, because that you're always thinking of how this impacts other people. Kindness comes close to that. Love comes with that. Yes. Generosity comes with that. So that one thing brings all its babies, that now forms a good character of a person. Another spectrum of that will be somebody who is very self-aware, somebody who is very emotionally intelligent, physically, mentally mature. And I used to think then that those traits come with age, but I've met some old people, guy,
I don't have it.
how you are ED, you are MD, why? Do you understand? So I've now seen that maturity, growth, and emotional intelligence, all those sort of things that help you are decisions people make and are deliberate about. And it's one of the things I'm trying to parent, because it says something about, not having a good platform. Those are the kind of things I'm trying to parent into my children, that you don't have to wait till you're 20 to have sense. You understand? Let's start to give you tools to be able to become a bit more mature. And the babies that come with maturity is responsibility. You know that you are supposed to take care of your home. You're supposed to contribute to this marriage. You're supposed to, come early to help your wife with the kids. That, or a woman, that you're not supposed to, that concept of my money is my money, our money is their money. And that bothers me a lot, because that is not responsibility. Responsibility says it is the money, and we are going to see how this money can make our lives and the lives of our family better. That's more mature thinking, thinking of, I've heard a girl say, and it's a married woman, say, I'm the one bringing money now. He's broke. So I'm now the man in the house. Yes, real life. I know, I've seen her face on top. So he will be the one to cook. He will be the one to serve me. All the things that are traditionally a woman's thing. Since I'm the one providing, he should be the one to do it. That is immaturity. Do you get? That is not responsibility. How is that a way to look at your partner? Is that even your friend? So if you are very mature in that sense, and maturity comes with growth. And growth comes with exposure and reflection. So you are constantly exposing yourself to new things, new way of thinking, and you're constantly reflecting that, okay, yesterday I thought that it was great to be a feminist. Today, is it really great? Yesterday I thought that it was great to say my money, your money. But how is that even helping my life? Is it making me attract the right people? By the time you have these questions consistently, you are growing. You are seeking knowledge. You are asking questions. You are attending on borders. You are learning. You are picking, and you are reflecting. And you are growing. That is maturity. So those are the things that I've seen. And then finally, I would probably say, I like it when a person is ambitious, and ambition is so personal because people think ambition is money. It has nothing to do with money. It's a ripple effect. Money is a ripple effect. Ambition is, how can I'm in this world today, and how am I going to make a difference? How is my gifting going to impact the world? What value am I bringing? I don't exist just to exist. I'm not a data set in somebody's computer. Number 516, staff still 19. No, I'm a human being that God has brought on this earth with giftings. How am I going to translate all these giftings to add value to people? That is when money will come as a result of that. Money will come as a result of being conscious of the problems around you and how you want to solve them. So if I meet a young lady and what is most important to her is I have to marry, my friends are married, everybody's married, me have to marry. Why? And she says, I'm old now. No. Why? And I'm not hearing things like, oh God, I feel like this part of my life, this place I'm going into, I need this support, I need this covering, I need this wisdom, I need this leadership, I need this. Or I feel like when we partner, if one is chasing 1,000, by the time I partner with the right guy, we're going to chase 10,000. If I'm not hearing those sort of things coming from you, then you don't give me the vibe of virtuousness. So I don't know if I've been able to touch it a little bit.
You see this thing she just said? I think Sexton also said something. He said, when people tell me I want to get married, I ask them why.
Why?
He said, even the guys, I asked them why. Yeah. Because he said there was a 38 years old guy who was a finance guy. He has done well, net worth millions of dollars. 38. Met a woman, he went to get married. And the guy told him, they just met, and he asked the guy, oh, why do you want to get married? The guy was shocked as to why he asked him why he wanted to get married. I was shocked. Why are you asking me? Because it's important to get married. He said, why is it important to you to get married? And that was where the guy had to sit down and I told him, I'm not questioning getting married is a bad thing. I also want us to know that as important as marriage is beautiful, marriage is important, but you also have to know, why am I getting married and what will marriage do for me and my partner when we are getting married? Even me, as I asking myself, Chike, why do you want to get married?
I was about to ask you that question. Chike, why do you want to get married?
I want to ask both of you a question.
Yeah?
If that's
they want to ask you a question.
Hello, good evening. Okay, so I think this question is going to be across everybody. Because
who is everybody?
No. I'll say why. So you had mentioned something about like maybe the guy say you like strip club, and then you just like, okay, I can manage it. That's one.
They said they were working.
No, there are some people that can. That's why when you nodded, I said you never see anything. I don't see person we don't marry, like, and his husband like strip club, right? But I think it's also part of what Modikwe says based on her book, Good Girls
Make Bad Wives.
I was 16 when I got my first marriage proposal.
Ooh, you are a hot girl.
Clock it, and now you are single.
No, it's not a good thing.
I need you to go back to that aura. So that they can take you off my hands.
Relax. Can't call again. Let me explain. So when I was 16, I was the person that they said, oh, she's mature. Right? She looks older than her age. Yeah. The good girl. That they, I know how to cook. I'm KCC. I know how to clean.
Be like me.
Those kind of things, right? So when they saw me, they saw someone who was good to put in a home. Right? So when you go back to the village, as we're going back for Christmas, I'm following like the city woman that they want to marry. Yes. Like, I want her. You get me? So that happened 16 years, 17, almost every year. It now became a routine, right? But a part of my spirit rejected it. So what then happened was, okay, it started looking like Amaka is being stubborn. Do you understand? So you are 18 now. Yeah, another person. I think I was in 200. I remember when I stopped talking to one. I was sleeping. I thought it was my friend that was calling me, and I said, "Oh, she leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you again." I didn't know it was the guy that called. The guy now said, Amaka. I said, hello. And I looked at the phone. I saw it was the guy. I said, oh, sorry, you. And that was the last time a guy spoke to me. So that happened up until that time. And I knew why I was rejecting it, but I didn't have a solid reason because I knew that this is marriage now. This is my mommy and daddy that is still here. My brother is how old? 20-something years. This is a lifetime. And I don't know why I want to buy you by telling me to get married. Do you understand? So now I'm at a point where I'm asking, and this thing is, the reason I'm asking is because I have friends who were in the same age range. And I'm not going to say it's a curse that none of us are married. But it's the point where we're at the point where this feminism thing now. I'm trying to explain like what the real impact of it is on a young person like me. So now we're at the point where we're like, do we really need a man? Right? The second is, if I can just make money and take care of myself and adopt a child, this is a real something that someone has told me. If I can just adopt a child, do I really need a man? Right? And then the third thing is, okay, how do I know that I'm ready? And this is a personal question, right? Because like I said, I've been getting marriage proposals for like, and then I got used to saying, I need to know myself first. I think there was a point when I knew that I really needed to know myself was, okay, someone had even, one of the proposals had even said, oh, we can be the next Ned Nwoko and Regina Daniels. That's to tell you how young I was and how old
he was.
the guy was. And I said
come again.
Like, are you serious?
Then they use prayer points. Propose to Amaka.
Actually, yeah. So that's why when
deliver us.
You used to tell me, oh, Amaka, why have you not married? I said, you don't know my story. You don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So the question now is, I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, how do I now know that I'm ready, right? Because I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to learn about myself, the things that I want in a home, the things I don't want. You know, as you said, there are things you see, instead of using it as a wall that you're not going to go through, use it as a net to filter what you want and what you don't want, right? So how do I know, or how do people like us know that, okay, I have seen someone that I think that I want to build something with? How do I know that? Aside seeing someone, how do I know that Chiamaka, you are ready to start a relationship?
Yeah, makes sense. Tyler, do you want to give it a go?
Yeah, I'll be very quick. Again, like you said, like your taste bud and your values. Like, are you really centered enough to really know what you want? And that's really like, I'm talking to someone is saying, I want a Christian guy, but I want a baddie. You know, those kind of things. You are conflicted, right?
I've heard it before.
Yeah, but
I want like, a girl with a shower.
You know those kind of things, you know. So that really tells me like you are not, there's no configuration about you. You have not grown. So what that means is that, you know, if that's what I'm saying, that I counsel a lot. I counsel Muslims. I counsel so in my level of counseling, I do not layer my faith. I just, where are you now? It's like what you present is how I would deal with you. So if what I think that is, if you have grown and you sort of know what you want and you are clear as to what you want, and I think that those are the kinds of, there are some things that you don't sort of engage with. Like, but if you don't know what you want, I cannot be, okay, you are saying, I want to marry. So what I'm going to tell you is that you have to embrace where you are. And if you are marrying based on you are not centered, you are not aware, and you get into marriage, then we will now start dealing with the issues with marriage. As you grow, you learn. And the tools I'll give to you is that embrace this journey, right? If you say you like a baddie and you want him to go to church, right? Embrace that the baddie will not lead morning prayer. He will not do Sunday school. Embrace it. Embrace when you marry the cost. Embrace. Don't like the problem with marriage that when you marry,
you want to change.
You want to bring your idea of a good life and what you want for your dream and enforce it in your home. No, it's not going to work. Now that's what I'm saying. Optimize for success, and the way to optimize for success is that you yourself grow, you yourself be marriage will happen. Marriage will, like, comes from our social. We can talk about how to optimize for that experience. Yeah, like you can meet your man in unbothered, you can meet it in more social context. But my point is that for you to sort of make a decision on the person you spend the rest of your life with, is that you as a person have clarity on yourself. Know yourself. No, it's not about know what you want. I don't want a guy like this. Know who you are. Like I'm a person like this, and you know what you embrace. You know what you don't embrace. A lot of people are not self-aware. A lot of people think they are self-aware, but they are picking from what they see on social media. I want a man that has money that will take me. I want a man that has 1 billion. So people go on the basis of marriage because the person hence is within a salary class. So, and that's why we're having inflation today. That's why you have 5 guys enjoying themselves now.
Yeah.
Like saying, like, because people are optimizing for a guy that is fully like chicken now. People are optimizing. So I think that know what you want, know yourself. It will translate to what you attract, what you accept, and what you sort of deal. Right, and I think that's really what I have to say.
Yeah, I think that. Me and Chike, do we follow for the people that are supposed to answer this question? No,
Yeah.
No. So not like I have an answer. I think that for me, right, especially like knowing you. So 3 years back, there was a marriage proposal, and this person was like from my place. My father is very keen about marrying someone from my place, which I don't care about as much.
We know.
I actually don't care about this. Very. Oh, I'm from Anambra.
Same.
No, I'm not from Nimi. Hey, no. I'm not from that place. I mean, so, and I, when you had said, because I realized this year that I've gone through spectrums, and that's why self-awareness for me is very key for most people, because self-awareness helps you understand your spectrums. So I think, and your spectrums also come with the kind of friends that you keep. I think thankfully for me, I have a kind of friends like, okay, so the other day I was with Eric, I was with Frank, and we were speaking about something like in the context of marriage. First of all, this feminism thing. My friend had said that she just recently realized in the Bible that what the consequence that God gave to Eve was that you will have labor for birth, but you will desire to rule your husband, but then he will rule over you. And she realized that it's a concept that happens in women where whether you like it or not, even your nurturing behavior of wanting to, you must wear this cloth, is you trying to rule over your husband. We don't know that we have it because we want to rule over. This is a lot of things that show up in feminism. How he has to do this, how he has to have this, how he has to be able to do this, right? And women don't know that they have that. But it's a thing that is now innate, and that's why God says the man will rule over you. Because now he has the leadership ability to bring you under. And it's not a bad thing. And that's why women of these days hate submission. Because yes, a lot of men have misused
submission, yes.
Right? But it's not that submission is bad. Submission is coming under. Bringing that thing inside you under. And coming to this place where I have this type of friend, it's because I'd gotten on a spectrum where I started to want to understand relationships better. I had a question about, I saw a lot of marriages where when women tell you that they married this man like this, and then inside the marriage, the man is a different ballgame. There's a story, I tell it all the time, a woman who was like an MD was going to go to have a course and come back, and then she married a man who promised to do everything for her, but immediately that marriage happened, he shut everything down. Down to the extent she wants to buy pad. She has to ask him, and she leaves the house without telling him that she's leaving the house. She'll come back to beat him. This was someone that was an MD. It's a loss of everything that she ever knows, right? But again, I now wonder, did she have friends who were on the level that she was, who understood spirituality, marriage, who she could listen to, who could be voices in her head? Because a lot of women don't have that. That's why you see this nonsense that when you get married, you think your single friends are no longer able to speak to you because you are now in marriage. It's a lot of rubbish. You are elevated. What's that? And then you are suffering inside your marriage and you cannot come and talk because you left them at some point. Right? So there are spectrums that you go to. The other day, I started telling God, teach me what it means to be a wife. Because what it means to be a wife is not what we think that our mothers were in this day. Right? Teach me how to be, because me, I'm stubborn. Jesus God. You will explain to me the reason for what you want us to do. You will break it down.
It's not being stubborn, it's being clear.
No, there's clarity, but my mother calls it stubborn. That's why when she said good girls, I say me. My mother don't know me like that. Right? So they will say, like, Zora, you're very stubborn. I question things from a very young age. Like my father, I question my father every day. Right? So I need to learn what it is. And I know the kind of marriage, of everything I don't want in my life, I don't want a man that asks me to cook every day.
So yeah, so that's
right.
Like optimize, like don't, like when you're asking. So those are the kind of questions you are not going to ask.
So maybe. I think that one thing I'll say to you is I have a series of questions that I give to a couple of people that I do marketing for customer, all of those. So I use that for myself, where I begin to break down questions in every bit. So whether personal, emotion, likes, dislikes, sex, what you want, the kind of parties you want, the kind of music. Like, I ask myself detailed questions. Like, you see the way I say I don't want Ashake in my house? It's not a joke. I'm not going to get married to somebody that will play Ashake. I mean, like, we can play,
Both of you are in love.
See, I've done that love thing. I've been there, done that. I'm not doing that again. I've been there, done that. So I know that I'm not doing that again. But I think that we need to get to where you're asking yourself very detailed questions.
But why do you hate Ashake?
I don't hate Ashake. Like, I played Remember on my way here. But I know that if we play it in my house, we'll go wild. So let's leave it.
Okay. We're going to add a thing or two. I think everybody has spoken so well. I think it's a very good question. And I'm going to say this quite lightly and hope it doesn't develop roots and people have perceptions. But I'd rather you are not married than you marry wrong.
Oh, yes.
Because I've seen marriage destroy people. I mean, I grew up in a home where my marriage destroyed my mom. Till today, I'm still saying, why did this woman marry this man? It was not necessary. You marry a man and then you go home. She was a Calabar woman. And then you marry him and then he takes you to Lagos and you realize he's a married man with 6 children already.
Hey.
And she was an NYC copper, fresh girl, young, beautiful lady. And then he's with 6 children. In my mind, I'm like, take the same bus. As the bus land the park, I'll use that bus.
Like, just back. Be going by U-turn.
You understand? But she stayed and gave birth to me. So now I'm having to deal with all this trauma of rejection, being second class, not being accepted. If you just didn't marry, I'll be in heaven with my cherub and my arrow. You understand? So I think based on that, I've come to realize that we were not born to marry. I think sometimes because the way we were raised, especially with our parents, you're not 28, you have to go for deliverance, you're not married. Hey, you have not married, I need grandchildren and all those sort of fancy stuff. As though we were created to marry. No. I think there's a physiological aspect of it where you now begin. I have friends who are mature, maybe in their early 30s, where like, I just have this craving to have a baby and I want to carry my baby, or I feel like I want to be in a home. That's there. But then you are created to have value and impact in the world. So for me to know that you are ready to marry, or if you ask yourself, am I ready to marry? You need to ask yourself, am I clear on who I am and why I'm here? That's the very first question. Am I clear? Mm-hmm. Oh, I know, Modupe, you are gifted in this who you are, this is where you are going, these are the big things you are going to do. Immediately, I am clear. And if I'm going to use myself as an example, I was very clear that I'm not going to be a woman that somebody will say, stay at home and cook every day and, nurture children, because I'm a very driven person and I speak, I write, I think, I create. So I'm going to somebody has to be pushing me. Sometimes I can be afraid. So someone's going to have to support me and say, you can do this, girl. So when I was dating Taiwo, I came up, I was bored. I just got fired from one job. I was doing front desk and I didn't have anything to do. So I said, okay, because I'm not wired to sit. So I said, okay, I'm going to come up with something called employability program to teach young people how to position themselves to get jobs. I was already seeing myself in HR. So I remember he came and said, let's call it DCG because the Dupe Taiwo God. Young man was toasting me. Quickly arranged the real. So I remember Taiwo and I went, we got people to speak, we're doing DCG, So that's how I knew that, okay, this person is the man for me. Because when I gave him the idea, if I want to do this employability, he brought it to life. till today, he's still bringing things. He says he's my talent manager. He's still bringing things. So I knew, because I already knew where I was going. I knew that I'm the person that will create things. I will come up with things. I will write things. So when I saw him, it aligned. He was not the richest person toasting me. He was not, to be honest, he was actually the most handsome person toasting me. Guys. But I had people who were toasting me with visa, who were already citizens of US. They just marry me and we'll move. And they were young guys, great guys. There were guys with Jeep. There were guys with businesses that were doing well. Young man was still telling me employability. Don't worry, I have a vision. We're going to do employability. Guy did not have anything in his pocket yet, you know. But he was the one for me because he aligned with the kind of person I need to help me go to where I'm going. So to know that you are ready is to know that you have where you're going. To know who is going to help you or who you're going to marry is the person that aligns. There's some women, and I know them, and they're not bad. Who they want. I'm one of the most intelligent girls in my university. Then she said when she finished this course now in Babcock, she's going to open baby shop. And she wants to sell baby things. That is her dream. She doesn't need a man to say, come on, be the MD of guy.
Legit.
Baby shop.
My friend wanted to be a cook. The only thing she wants to do is to bake and cook for her family.
Do you understand?
A couple of my friends were looking at her like, something's wrong with you.
Everything is not wrong with her. She's all right. Do you understand? That's her ambition. Now, if she goes and marries Taiwo, it'll be a big problem.
Me.
Because Taiwo wants his wife to, he wants to be able to brag. See that baby girl is my baby girl. she's the head of this and she's the middle of that. So you know yourself and you know the person that will align. I don't know if I've added it.
And like, just don't confuse yourself in life. Just be clear. I want someone who is wild, and just go for it. Like I'm not like, be clear what you want and don't be confused. And again, like the idea that, and she said something very beautiful, you're not created to marry, right? Marriage is God's design available, but don't go to it because it's glamorous. The fact that people make wedding and do like be glamorous, don't go to it on. You entered marriage on the basis that you saw a beautiful wedding in Dubai, and that's why you are going to marry. Right? There has to be more centered and more like awesome reason why you are doing life with someone. And if you understand that the issues we are dealing with, I'm telling you, would not even, when you are coming for counseling, it's not like, you imagine, it's not giving me money, it's not how much does he earn, he's a broke guy. Like, those conversations will not come in. Like, oh, see where it took me to. It took me somewhere far in Aja when we are supposed to live in Surulere. Like, my point is, those conversations will not, because there is clarity. The problem is that people are mind, there's no concept of clarity. The only clarity is that there is wedding day. Like, people actually marry for wedding day. That's strange.
Cinderella Boga.
Like,
Yeah.
That's strange. They're married
I'm
because,
not the bride, I'm the bride's sister.
like, if someone announced to me that if someone had played the picture of me and the whole process we went in our marriage, honestly, I would have a very basic wedding. And I invested all that money. Almost, I think, spent about 3 million back in the day. And I invested something in that money, sort of developing myself. Me, I was unclear. I was very African when I entered marriage. I was a conservative, full-blown Yoruba conservative man.
God, I beg.
Right? So, but I thank God for the grace to grow
Malleable.
and, be better. But it would have been so beautiful if I was already better, because I couldn't understand why I would be doing some things in the house. I was a typical African man, yeah. But my last word to you will say that focus on building yourself, focus on growing, enjoy your singleness. Paul said in the Bible that it's better to be single than to be married. It's not like he was berating marriage. He was saying that if you go into marriage to be wholesome, what you give into the marriage will be a blessing to your marriage. Than going to marry because you want to marry. No. It's because marriage, he even said that, Paul said that marriage will allow you to focus on yourself and keeping yourself. Oh, he has not eaten today. Yeah, school fees. Do you know what that does to it? Even providing, paying for school fees, doing that. Do you know that's even a destroyer of marriage? In itself, just being functional. You just realize that both of you are not married. Both of you are just running a company called Mr. and Mrs. Akinsey. You are running a family company because this one has done swim. Have you done his pampers? Has he eaten? What are we providing for breakfast? And you guys are like, you forget that both of you
Activity.
are are in love.
Focus on activity.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
I have one question.
Yeah, Jesus.
I don't know if it's question, but and I think this is centered on me and my fellow men. All of us that are not married.
It's true. Do not be here, man. Do better next year.
So, Nala, you have to bother.
Don't do that. Better be bothered.
All my guys will marry, but we'll marry when we want to marry. So, discipline. What are the questions around discipline, or the traits around discipline women should watch out in guys?
A guy who is disciplined. I do like. How will I answer this question? I mean,
let me understand the question. Like, how does a lady know a guy is a disciplined guy?
Yes.
Okay, let me just throw one that I know. I hold this one. Is I like to see a man who is emotionally disciplined. I think sometimes they think that is women that are emotional. No, men are emotional as well. And if a man, and if a man, when I mean emotional discipline, I mean, how does he handle fear? You know, when he's going through a new venture, he has to do something he has never done before, or he's maybe, for example, a guy is about to marry, but his family is telling him, we'll not accept her because she's not Yoruba. Or will not accept her because she's not Igbo, or she's not from Newe, or because she's not. I've seen a woman who said she did not like the fact that the girl her son wanted to marry did not have chest and backside. Yeah. And that was the reason why. How does he handle?
Now I go keep the house.
Yes, that will give you an element of fear. That if I bring this there, how will I deal with the complexities of it? How does he handle that? How is he posturing when it comes to fear? How is he posturing when it comes to addictions? How is he posturing when it comes to addictions of football and not addictions of drugs? That's even going too far. Addictions of football, addictions of work, addictions of trying to prove himself. Always trying to prove himself. I go show them, I go make them. Like, how disciplined is he to know when to stop?
To be opposite sex.
Know when to, even to sex. I know guys, amazing guys, they cannot, in my office, it's embarrassing. Fine girl must not come to that office. You know, I'm HR. So I do onboarding. The fine girls come to meet our new staff. Come. Young girl. What departments? What's wrong with you?
And some are married though.
And then, what is some are married? All of them are married. I've never gotten a single one. Single guys will just go and meet the girl. Or married guy send us to my department to come and collect documents. What is going on here? So how disciplined is he with his emotions in the context of how he handles addictions, how he handles obsessions, and some guys I know a guy who will stay out for hours. What is he doing? He's jumping from one friend's place, going to one football, going to one club. That is not a disciplined person. A disciplined person is busy using those time to build himself. I understand that sometimes you need a break, but if it's coming a pattern, your emotions are leading you, your feelings are the feeling of wanting to jive, have fun, is a problem for me. So that's my 2 cents on how I identify.
More.
No, I do.
No.
I think the one I want to say is recently I heard of a guy that got married. And then his friends had asked him, because he was dating somebody else. And then he got married to somebody else. And his friend had asked him why he was getting married to this person over the other person. And he had said, this person doesn't check him.
Hey, nah.
And I say,
red flag.
I just
say it like this.
What do you mean? He said he sometimes might not tell her where he's going to, or even the days he does, he just tells her once and she's fine.
Oh, wow.
I say, both of you are red flags. The fact that she's fine and the fact that you say if you can do it, that's the only way to check it.
Some of those things on me, I see it as promiscuity.
Yes.
But it's interesting that people just get married on that basis, right? just marry someone on those bases.
I know people marry. One guy told me that he married because he was about to get promotion at work, and they said it's only for people who are married. So he married, and he told this is a real life, and I was like, And it's like, what's that? It's the truth. Now I had to marry, so I just picked the nearest girl I had as dating, and she was great. So I married her, and yeah. And when they started having marital challenges, what he kept saying was like, I shouldn't have married. It's just God that useless promotion. Now I'm now married. Some people are really shallow, man.
Not count the cost.
Yeah, like
There's a cost.
and you sort of,
It didn't count
maybe because
anything.
everybody is self-aware here, but you just realize we're maybe in the minority in a way.
Yes. Yeah.
And you just, when you sort of engage people, and the idea that the biological clock is ticking and you have to marry is, and just get married. Marriage is good, but are you ready to be married?
That's a very final question.
Because marriage will test you, break you. Are you ready to give up love? So yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to the final. This is our final live show for 2025, and it was a good run. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I hope you remain unbothered in your marital and singular lives. We'll see you in 2026.
And also, guys,
Good night, everybody.
don't forget to follow the Unbothered Show on Instagram, TikTok, and also subscribe to our channel.
So,
on YouTube.
Chicas, memorize this thing for people. Follow.
Follow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.